Welcome to Elevation Nation with your hosts Sam Panich and Parker Yablon. Elevation Nation is a community focused on bringing together young adults who are elevating themselves and others every day. Each week, we welcome a new elevator to share their story and experiences to help you conquer the real world. What's going on, Elevation Nation? We are back in 2026, the first podcast that we are recording of the year. Sam and I are very pumped for all the things that 2026 has to bring, and we are starting the year off strong with a new elevator. Morgan Rich joins us from the West Coast. And when I got introduced to Morgan, we had a conversation about a couple months ago, and I was just like, yep. This guy's going to be an elevator. This guy knows what we do and like is everything we're about. And then I went to his website. Let me just read this for you, Elevation Nation. Morgan has on his website, in quotes, "I believe our greatest experience of fulfillment is fueled by our dedication to living as the unique expression of wholeness and beauty that we each are." Think about that for a second, Elevation Nation. That's the type of conversation we're going to have with Morgan today. Morgan Rich, welcome to Elevation Nation. We are so pumped to have you.
Yeah, really nice to be here, you guys. I am really excited because you guys really embody in so many different ways, both with who you are and what you're creating here, the kind of energy that I think is going to really help us in the world and help people live whole lives and find exactly that, like the brilliance that lives inside. So thank you guys. What a sweet honor.
We are excited to get into it with you, Morgan, but this is Elevation Nation. Obviously, Parker and I, we've done our research on you. Parker just read a quote from your website. Your website is sick, by the way. I felt like I was going on a hike experience with you somewhere. The visuals, we'll link to it in the bio. You got to check it out. It's awesome. But Morgan, for everyone else out there listening, can you give us a little elevator pitch? Who the heck are you, man?
Yeah, man. Well, the thing for me is that like I want to live in integrity of who I am and how I be in the world, and I want to be loved in the world, and I want to be the change in all the ways that we say that. So I do a lot of work with men. I was a young guy, when 18. My dad died when I was 18, and I did not have any adults that I really respected in my life, especially men, but really no one at all. And I needed me. Like I needed someone to like cut through all the bullshit, to give me, to be able to stand with me, to see me, to love me, to help me take steps like you guys, the courageous steps you've taken into the world. Like I needed a guide. I needed a mentor. I needed someone who I could really trust. And that's my work. My work is in men's groups is what I do. I do it with one-on-one coaching, mostly men, some women. My partner and I are doing some couples counseling now. And it is all about being honest. It is about bringing our full self. It is about living passionately. It is about stepping into, not away from life's challenging, delicious, beautiful moments. And, not only do I do that for my work, I live that and be that. Like that is, to me, that's what it's all about. So there I am in a nutshell.
Love it. I mean, you talk about you needing at a time in your life when you were younger, someone like yourself now. Could you talk us through more about what that experience was like as an 18-year-old, maybe going off into the real world and trying to navigate it on your own, maybe even searching for the Morgan that you are now and how you eventually came around to find that?
Yeah, well, I mean, my journey started I went to boarding school to pursue my dream of being a professional ice hockey player. And I was 14 or 15 years old, and I wandered off, and almost immediately the dream collapsed because I realized that there were better athletes, bigger dudes out in the world than I was. And it catapulted me into this just off a cliff of my dreams gone. So then I wander off to college. My dad dies my first year of college, and I'm again like plunged into darkness. And a crazy thing happened in those moments, which was there were opportunities to go down the road of addiction, of checking out, of using drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. Alcohol is all over my family, and I didn't. I just, for whatever reason, my spirit, I like to say, engaged in some way, and I was able to sit in the challenge of life, of what is this whole thing really about? And here I am really hurting, like in a lot of darkness, never suicidal, but about as close as you could get. And in a place where I was like, okay, something in me really, really has to die. And what I realized, of course, is that it was a rite of passage. It was part of me did have to die. And in that, my spirit, something engaged in me and launched me into this work in my life.
It's obviously hits so close to home for, I know Parker and myself with experiences and traumas that we've all gone through. And it resonates because, Morgan, I think we grow up with these dreams and this vision of what the real world is like. You see the adults around you. Hopefully, for the most part, you think those teachers, those coaches, those parental figures, they have their shit figured out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you become one of them at 18, and maybe more in the US at kind of 22 when you're kind of out of college and
Yep.
into the real world. And you go, what am I doing as an adult? And for some people, they've never had real adult traumas that have happened to them. And then they go through hardships and
Yep.
death and friends that have depression and mental health issues themselves. And you start to have all these life experiences happen to you. And
Yep.
that's really the and why we started Elevation Nation. Parker and I were both going through depression, going through traumas of our own as young men, which I think we can still say we are, Parker, maybe for another year or two. But
I
it's
still call
been,
myself a young man, and I'm
I think you
55.
are
But
too. You're with us. And it's like, we've been on this journey now for 6 years. And what I've realized is I will never have all the answers,
yeah,
but I would rather be in pursuit of working with other people to uncover them in myself than just give up and stop trying. And so, Morgan, I'm so excited that we got introduced to you. We certainly have so much commonality. I want to focus for a minute on, you said you work mostly with young men,
yeah,
which majority of our listeners are young men.
yeah,
I think our story resonates with many of them because they hear themselves in us. Parker and I were high school athletes, went and were fraternity brothers at a
mhm,
Big Ten school, and we did that whole thing.
yeah,
And now we're in Big Four consulting. Very similar path to many young men around the country. And we've realized through what we've gone through that we are maybe an underserved community. I know
yeah,
that sounds crazy coming from three white guys on a podcast,
yep,
and I get that there are many other diverse groups that certainly need help. So I'm not disparaging that. But I think for a long time, young men thought that they had all the answers,
yeah.
and you're realizing that they need to put in work too. So talk to us a little bit about why you decided to specialize in young men and working with them.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the story, and thank you again for the courage that it takes for you guys to get through that depression and to have something launch out of that, because that actually is how it goes often, right? If you think about the most meaningful moments of our lives, they come out of the darkest times. But what often happens in those dark times, especially these days where we have so many distractions, right? We have technology all over the place that wants to pull us out of the darkness. And so much of the work that I do and the reason that I do it is because what I say is we got to hang in the darkness. We got to go towards the depression and be with it, not move away from it. And so the beauty is that like when you get into those hard places, what's happening, like for me, my spirit was wanting to emerge. Something was wanting to come alive, but it takes a huge amount of effort, and it takes a huge amount of belief in self, like that really deep inner belief to emerge in those places. And so often, all of us, young men, young women, everyone, but particularly young men, have to do it alone. Right? We have to do it alone, or we run into the whole, nonsense of like getting made fun of, or thinking that there's some weakness in being vulnerable, or that there's just all kinds of ways that are subtle and not so subtle about how we get poked at and made fun of, and thought that oh, any kind of weakness is actually weakness. Where I say no, 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 no. That's strength. To be able to actually be in those moments is strength. And so what I do in my work is I sit with men, with young guys in those places. And so then you're in your depression, but you have a companion. You have someone right there with you saying like, way to go. Like, let's keep going. Like, thank you for being caring. Thank you for being courageous. Thank you for having that deep heart in you that is opening to something that we don't know what's coming yet, but it is coming. Right. So you don't have to do that part alone. You get to get in there and get into the messiness, but you have support, knowing that there's nothing crazy, there's nothing wrong. That actually this is like the fertile ground of birthing something really, really beautiful.
When you say birthing something really beautiful, I mean, I think the way you describe that, Morgan, is, you have to go deep. You have to get really vulnerable with yourself to uncover a newfound, maybe, version of yourself or a new idea of what you could be. I mean, through my own challenges and problems and anxieties and
Mhm.
moments where shit was really hard compared to life was great, that I think when I reflect, it goes like this. And it's a consistent theme throughout my entire life. There's good moments and there's bad moments, and they come and go, and they come and go. And I think that was a hard part about me growing up, because I always thought that when you became an adult and you got over the pain, that you would just be good. But growing up, you realize when you go from pain to good, that the reason why you become good is because you're going to experience pain again. And then you're going to experience happiness and joy because you've experienced pain. And it's like a cycle. And so I'm really curious, from your perspective, Morgan, what are some tools or some ways to help people kind of ground themselves in knowing that inevitably shit is going to be bad?
Yeah,
Inevitably, though, good stuff is going to come too.
that's right. So part of the work that I do is I call it training for the unknown. So it's training for the unknown, and then inside of unknown is the word now, right? So I write unknown and I capitalize now. So it's like training for the present moment, for being present in each moment. And so if we just take a moment and, like, if you just put your hand on your heart and take a deep breath and feel like, here is this moment right now. Like, here I am, here we are, here you are. And I can do this breath. Like, I can breathe right now and everything is okay. Even if I'm feeling anxious, even if I'm feeling sad, even if I'm feeling totally joyful, I can do this breath right here. And so every morning I do a morning practice where I do exactly that. And I sit for 5 minutes and I breathe and I say, okay, here I am. I can do this breath. No matter what's happening in the world, however crazy and nutty it is, I can be right here, right now. And then I often have that 5 minutes expand into more. Right. And so that is the meditation, the morning practice, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you call it, but that's the foundation of it. Because in that time, I check in with the man I know myself to be. In that moment, I check in with that good, that part of myself, that integrity, that deep, deep knowing that is like, okay, there's something in here that wants to come alive. Okay, so then in that place, what happens is we know life is going to be doing, like you said, Parker. Like, there are going to be times that are up and you're down. And so if I can know that today I can sit here and be right with myself, be in love with myself, get to know myself, I've got me, then I can keep going. And each day I can be in that moment, in that moment, in that moment, in that moment, in that moment. And it starts to be the same. It just starts to be, whatever happens to me in my life is an experience of life, whether it's hard or easy or whatever it might be. This is a moment that I can be present in and learn from. And so then the, like, woo starts to flatten out, because it's like there's not good and bad. There's just, here I am in an experience of life. So to your question of, like, what can we do? The daily practice is essential. Like, really coming home to self, where I've got me. I'm not dependent on external validators. I'm not dependent on my paycheck, my house, my resume, what other people are saying about me. I know I've got me right here, and I can be present in this moment and love myself. And from that place, things get really interesting.
I know Sam's going to jump in, but what you're describing here is like, you always have that choice.
Yes.
Like, no one can take that from you. or
Correct.
no one has to give it to you. As a human being, we have independence and freedom
Yep.
to choose that breath and that
Sovereignty.
perspective.
Yep. 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 Over and over again.
Parker knows this, Morgan. One of my goals for this year is I'm calling it just invest in myself. But at a little bit more of a granular level, I am trying to learn how to be more into holistic wellness, spirituality, and the energy of the universe, right?
Yeah. Beautiful.
And that is one of the biggest goals I have in realizing, as a anxious young Jewish man, like, got a lot of trauma in the family, got a lot of trauma in my life. It is my life and my perspective that I get to change how I view things that happened and are happening to me. And so I'll give you an example. Parker and I, for 2026, we are fully focused on throwing Elevation Nation events. That's our
Yeah.
goal.
Love it.
We've been talking the shit forever, haven't executed on it. And so our big goal is we want to do that. I just spent the last hour with Parker getting frustrated, not at him, not at me, but going, what is this unique one idea for this event? How do we make it different? And we're bouncing ideas off of each other. We're getting frustrated. I'm going, Parker, we're making no progress again. What are we doing? Like, it's January 5th. Come on. I thought this was the year that things were going to click. And in talking with you, I came in a little bit stressed from that conversation and wanting to go brainstorm more and realizing what a blessing that I get to try to attempt and experiment something crazy, throwing our own events with my best friend in the world and not have to be stressed about what happens from it. Luckily, knock on wood, that's not how we pay our bills right now. It's just, is it going to work and people are going to come or not? It's not, can I put food on the table? And so trying to find those moments of frustration for me of, we're ambitious people, all of us. We're trying to build businesses. We're trying to improve our lives. We're trying to elevate who we are as human beings. And I think because, many of us were overachievers in our lives, in past lives and currently, we get frustrated when things don't move as quickly as we want. And so I'm now trying to embrace the beauty in the struggle of creation. I had no real question with that. I just wanted to share that story.
I'll riff off of it because it's beautiful. It's beautiful, Sam. One thing is that there's Bayawaka Malafe has a beautiful quote, which is to say, in the craziness of the world today, he says, times are urgent. Times are urgent. Let us slow down. Let us slow down and soften and really be in that. What you did in that moment just now was so beautiful, Sam. And it is another piece of the, what are the tools that we can use is the way that we tell our story, the way that I tell my story of my life is crucial. So what you did is you took this situation that was like, oh, it's not working. It's this, it's like, we can't come up with the idea. It's not going to go well. We aren't going to do all this noise. You said, wait a second. I get to spend time with my best friend, living from my heart, doing something courageous, doing something creative, doing something that could revolutionize a lot of people's lives. And it's not really coming through clear, but like, what a beautiful opportunity. I am probably going to like epically mess this up and learn so much from it. And I am so excited about it. Right? Like so you reframe every situation as a win, as a learning experience, so that in the holding of self, your self-talk is really nourishing, is really caring. It takes a huge amount of creativity and it takes a huge amount of love of yourself to be able to do that. So in that is just a beautiful example. It was beautiful how you reframed and did that.
Well, thank you for inspiring me for that, because it didn't happen until I talked to you. So
yeah. And that's the kind of thing that magically happens in groups, in the groups that I lead. I mean, it's just amazing. Like when dudes get together and we're able to talk at this kind of level and hold each other. And I just have this sort of amazing ability to see the best in people and to hold the high. I like to say, I stand in the side of your soul. And so if you're compromising that, you're going to hear about it from me. If you aren't playing full out wholeness, bringing that brilliance, I'm not going to stand for that. I'm going to keep mirroring back the beautiful piece of you that wants to come alive and shine.
Let's talk a little bit more about these groups, these
Yeah.
men's groups. How do you facilitate them? How often? Like, what do you talk about? How many people show up?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm so honored to do it. I have 2 groups right now on Tuesday nights. They're online, hour and a half each. I call one they're called the Beyonders. um, so there's guys from 18 to 90, 70 in the groups, like a really big age range, which is just so gorgeous and so beautiful. So a couple
Which,
weeks ago,
by
the
the
young
way,
guy,
Morgan, I
yeah,
just sent Parker an article on this.
yeah,
I can't remember now, Parker, where I got that article, but it was on intergenerational events and how that is what people are craving so much more. And I think it goes back to you were looking for a mentor in your life when you were 18. And
right.
so, sorry, I just wanted to throw that in because I
No,
think it is so rare and so beautiful.
to see it, like to sit there and witness, like to be in the group holding space for it and watch the whole thing happen is really beautiful. So the young guy, he's got a crush on a young woman, and he's in this place of like feeling all the like juiciness, discomfort, and like, oh, like what am I gonna do? How do I do it? So he brings it to the group, and he brings it to the group because we've been working together for a while, so he knows the game, and he goes like, if I say this to the group, I know I'm gonna have to follow through on it, because what's gonna happen is that the guys are gonna encourage me to step in. And so he brings this desire and this like, well, how do what here's what I'm thinking I want to say, here's what I feel, and it's beautiful because the group holds him in so much excitement and awe, instead of what often happens with men, if we want to be generous, but oftentimes it's not kind. And so here he is bringing this like really beautiful, vulnerable, and like having a crush on a young woman or man or whatever. It's like, yes, like we want more of that in the world. Please, let's have more of that in the world and not have it be weird. Like, let's have it be the beautiful thing that it is of like having a crush, having desire. Like, yes, please. So he brings it, and it like awakens this beautiful spirit in people. And then the oldest guy is just like, oh yeah, the other day, like I was sitting in a coffee shop, and like I had the same sort of feeling, and I didn't do anything with it. Like I didn't go and talk to her. And so the next week, the guy comes back and he's like, I talked to someone in a coffee shop this week, right? And so it's like this beautiful blending of what happens when we escape the nonsense of like making fun of each other, of like all the pokey, not not like low vibration yuckiness, right? The absence of that is amazing. But what happens in the groups is that not only is there an absence of the bullshit, we actually get acknowledged and held and seen. So like all week, the guys are texting and talking to each other, saying like, "Hey, Duncan, did you talk to her? What did she say? How did it go?" And it was this beautiful celebration of like desire and sexiness and playfulness and everything we want. So that's the kind of thing that happens in the
It's
groups.
just so cool.
It's
It's
so
incredible.
it's Yeah, I feel so honored to do it. And right now the groups are like we want more guys in the groups. Like
Yeah.
they've been they're I want them to grow, and there's opportunity just to jump in to be part of them. So
I think back to the defining moments is the wrong word. I guess groups that helped shape me. And every single one of them was when I had peers my own age, but mentors, whether it was coaches or camp counselors or teachers that were running clubs. Those are the moments that shaped me into the man I am today. And I think we are at a scary place in our world. I know Parker is when his eyes go up like that, I know what he's thinking. This is how long we've been doing it. He's thinking about Scott Galloway right now in the book he just wrote on
yep,
the men's loneliness epidemic that is plaguing our society, and how young men are working from home, studying from home, playing video games, watching porn, and ordering DoorDash, and they're not
yep,
having social interactions anymore.
yep,
And I'm lucky I got to go to school when it was normal to be in person, and I got to have a few years of work, but I work from home now.
yeah,
And so even myself, who grew up knowing what interpersonal relationships are, I have to challenge myself to
Yes.
get out of the house, go talk to people, go make new friends, go have new experiences. And so I think anytime we can bring men together intergenerationally to learn from each other and grow, we're helping to solidify some of those core memories and experiences where I had peers struggling through adversity and mentors to help coach and guide us to an end goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, part of the training for the unknown is about discomfort. And us getting good at being uncomfortable is so, so,
Hmm.
so important. And so
Yeah.
part of the training that we do is actually, we use breath retention. Just go to a yoga class and you will get uncomfortable really fast and be challenged. Like I had a funny yoga experience where I did yoga for a lot, 25 years. But I used to go to classes and I would like beat myself up the whole time talking to speaking to what you were talking about earlier, Sam,
Yeah.
because I'd be like, God, I'm really bad at this. My body's not flexible enough. I'm not as strong as she is. I'm not, blah, blah, blah. And the whole time I'm like giving myself a hard time and I'm at a yoga class,
Hmm.
right? Instead of being like, wow, here I am, like learning to do this better and to get more flexible and to be better. I was like harshing on myself the whole time. So there's that. But the discomfort training is crucial. And I often use cold water. Right. And so, we can go down this whole road of cold plunges and all the, biohacking and like all this kind of stuff, which there's validity to all of that kind of stuff and it's all good. But it gets to be a little bit of a clown show in my humble opinion of like, us flexing, like I can stand a cold plunge for, it's this temperature for like this long and like, raw, and it's this whole like,
Dude's
you
like blowing his nose. He's sick. He's like, but I can do
right.
longer than
I
you.
could, yeah. And right. And it's just the same, just the same external validation stuff that's the
Ain't that the
nonsense.
truth? Yeah.
Right. And so like cold plunges are great. So the way that I do it is I say, great, my commitment is to get in because I have that resistance. And I get in and I have a moment of calm where my body is under adversity. There's a huge amount of stimulus, right? And my brain wants to go like, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. And I just go, it's okay. Like here I am, I'm not dying. It's okay. And now I can get out. And that sometimes is 4 seconds. And sometimes, because I've done it for a long time, it's 7 minutes. I love playing in waterfalls in the Pacific Northwest. To get in the water here is cold. So I get in and I can just stay. It's that same thing we were talking about, right? It's like this is just stimulus. It's just information into my body. And if I tell my story that it's problematic, then it's problematic. But if I'm just like, okay, I can do this, like it's fine. Like I'm okay. And it starts with that like small 4 seconds of getting really good at being uncomfortable. And that leads Sam to that place of that, like when I know I can do hard things and I can be uncomfortable, then I can go out in the world and talk to people, right? I
Yeah,
can go out and take
totally.
risks. I can go out and fail and try to have a big, a retreat and a whole thing. And it doesn't go well and it's okay. You know,
It's
it doesn't
beautiful.
collapse my sense of self. It doesn't collapse who I am. I'm still like, wow, I'm in love with myself because I can do this stuff.
I mean, Elevation Nation, right there, what Morgan's talking about is mental fortitude. And that is what we have talked about since episode 1. This is like episode 450, is Sam and I have uncovered through conversations with hundreds and hundreds of people, Morgan included, that the way that you elevate in your life is you have to push yourself outside your comfort zone. And the way you do that is with mental fortitude, the knowing that you will be better off as a result of doing something that fears you, that you fear, doing something that is scary or hard or never done it before. But it, for some reason, whenever you do something hard and you look back and you're like, wow, you can say two things. I hated that and that felt like the worst thing ever. And you learned something. Or, wow, I didn't think I could actually do that. And to Morgan, your point is you're building a foundation of resilience within yourself so that when more hard things come up, you become more accustomed to being able to take on that fear or that risk or that challenge or whatever it might be.
Totally. And it comes back to something we were talking about earlier of the birth death cycle. When I sit and I meditate in the morning, I look out at the natural world, and here we are in the winter where it's really quiet. There's a lot of like it's like all underground is where the energy is, and it's hidden in these places. But in the fall, like all these things are dying. And now we're in this place where things have died, the leaves have died, and now things are going to start to be born. The flowers are starting to bloom even already, which is a little scary. But and so there's this not big D death and big B birth, but little D death and little B birth. And that's these, right? That's our undulating time of we get good at letting parts of ourselves die. And then parts of, like in a forest fire, things die. But it also isn't really, really important for the ecosystem that things then it cleans things out, and then things that haven't been born before get born and start to come online. There are pine cones that only open in the heat of the fire, and I would make the case that there are parts of ourselves that only open in the heats of adversity. And so we have to get good at the birth and death cycle. And it's all about rites of passage. You can watch, Lord of the Rings or any movie. It talks about dying. Like we have to die over and over and over again, and then reborn over and over and over again. And the better we get at that cycle that we can control, mental fortitude, right? That's it. It's allowing ourselves to be reborn over and over again.
That's so eloquent, beautifully stated. I think as more young men start to grasp that concept, I hope that with podcasts like ours and Morgan, groups like what you're creating with the Beyonders,
Yeah.
people are feeling more comfortable with not only entering that cycle, but understanding they don't have to struggle through them alone. And so that's really one of the main goals that Parker and I had when we started the podcast is you have two frat looking boys who love sports, love food, and can drink a beer with the best of them. But we get deep and we get vulnerable and we talk about the struggles that we are having, the struggles that our guests have, and try to paint and create a safe space for people to hear the struggles that we're going through so that they know they're not alone. And so I'm just so grateful that we get to have you as a counterpart on this similar mission to us. It always fills my heart when I see people that are really so dedicated to doing this because, again, I think it is an epidemic. It is an issue that so many young men specifically are struggling with. And so I'm grateful that we got to learn a little bit more about your story. I could talk with you for hours on biohacking, so we might have to save that for a part 2, but I want to move us into our rapid fire section. We have a couple quick hitting questions we didn't prep you for, and we want to know the first thing that pops into your mind. So we're putting you outside your comfort zone. Get ready here.
Okay, baby.
All right.
Here we go.
Okay. We talked a lot about habit building, right? About little tips and tricks that you can do every single day. For you, Morgan, what is the one, you can only pick one, non-negotiable every day you have to do this to regulate yourself?
Yeah, it's taking a deep breath, hand in my heart, and calming my nervous system, like calming my whole system, and just saying, here I am, alive right now, ready to take on my day.
Okay, I have a follow-up question. You've now done that for how many years? I imagine many.
Yeah, I mean, unconsciously for a whole bunch of years. Like when after my dad died, I was doing it. I didn't really know, but I would say consciously for 10 years.
Have you had a Matrix moment where you have a dream that you are doing that and you're like, shit, am I dreaming or is this real life? Like, I don't know.
I don't know if I had a Matrix. I don't know if I've had a Matrix moment, but there's plenty of moments of like really deep connection with the natural world. Really, really beautiful. There was one time I was in a river and I was playing in the rapids. And again, I like to be in cold water. I'd been in for about 45 minutes, so I was way altered. And I was like hiding behind a rock and going in, and I could feel myself as a salmon. Like I could feel the like how the salmon. I was like, how did the salmon get up there? How the thing? And I could like start to feel the flow of the river and how each like that there was strong and weak. I mean, it was just this beautiful, like outside of myself, connected to the natural world. Total, like I was way altered, and it was beautiful. Like it was just beautiful connection. So there's my Matrix moment.
I love it. That's a great story. Okay, well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very cool. I
It
love
was
it.
really
All right. My question, Morgan, for you is what's one piece of manhood advice that you used to believe when you were younger, but now that you've grown a little bit wiser, you've actually said, you know what, that was complete bullshit.
what we care about is your heart. We care about your being emotionally available. Like we want the parts to match. That's important. But it's like, and so, like, and I think this messes up a lot of men that we think our parts and our bodies and our that like that stuff matters and defines who and how we are in the world, and it is such bullshit. Like it is so much nonsense, and it did a lot of harm to me. It took me a lot of years to get over that shame, and that like weirdness around it all. And I think it messes with a lot of young guys.
Totally. I mean, just the idea that, with through the phones, right? Like social media, you look at, other people and you compare. And I mean, it's just the comparison game is never a good game in my
It's
eyes.
never a good game. I mean, it's like all our body. I mean, it's just like finding good matches with people, finding people who resonate with your heart, being with the people who just the lovers, friends, the elders, the whole that's what really
I'm not going to say great advice. It's great advice to not listen to that advice is what I'll say. So
yeah.
our last rapid fire here. As you can see, Parker has all his books right behind him. We love to read.
Love it.
We love to
Love it.
educate ourselves. Do you have a book recommendation for Elevation Nation?
Yeah, I mean, besides the Invitation Beyond, Reclaiming Healthy Masculinity, I would go with Fate and Destiny by Michael Meade.
I think you can do a little bit more of an emphasis on your own book. Go ahead. You can plug.
Yeah. I mean, The Invitation Beyond it was a book that was written really, I would say, through me, and also Launch Your Life too, which is my first book. It's almost like the salmon moment of opening the conduit and just really listening deeply to what wants to be here and what wants to come through, and then being the beautiful steward of this energy. It is about reclaiming healthy masculinity. It talks about all this stuff here that we've talked about being uncomfortable, about nourishing self-talk, about daily practice, all kinds of beautiful stories about intimacy and sex and connection. Some really fun hockey stories about almost getting in fights and just bringing a whole different level of masculinity. And then the audiobook is out, and the beautiful thing about the audiobook is that I recorded it. I've lived van life for a couple of years, and my van became my recording studio, which is a whole hilarious story in itself. But I got to bring all the passion of the book through the words, where the book came alive. And so it was so fun to record it, and really, really great to listen to it. So really recommend it for anyone who wants to just open your heart, connect to your inner guidance, really listen into how do I figure out like who and how I am in the world. Like these are available. And I'll just say for your listeners, morganrich.com/courage. And there's a resource there for how do you take your next courageous step. And you can get the books and sign up to talk with me and all that kind of stuff. So
Love it. Glad you plugged that too. That's great.
thank you,
Morgan,
guys.
we're on to our last question of the podcast, which is a question that we ask every single person who joins Elevation Nation, whether on the podcast or any of our speaking events around the globe. Thousands of people have what we call a mental motto, a phrase, a quote, a slogan that you lead your life by. And so obviously, we're very curious, Morgan, what is your mental motto?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's come up a bunch of times, and not surprisingly, as we've talked here. What it comes down to is I am in love with my unique self. Like I've got me, and that then allows me to step towards, not away from, all of life's beautiful, challenging moments. So I am in love with myself. Got me right here.
It's beautiful. And I think self-love is something we all can continue to work on and practice. That is certainly part of my goal and my journey for 2026. And Morgan, I can't think of a better mentor, friend, and guy to join us on the podcast to kick off Parker and I's personal development in the new year. I don't care if Elevation Nation liked this or not. I loved it. I loved our conversation. Super helpful for me. And so I can't thank you enough for giving us some time, welcoming us into your world, and opening up your heart and mind to us in Elevation Nation. And as Parker like to say, this is only the beginning. We don't like being just a podcast you come on and you never hear from us again. Literally, we don't make any money on this. The only reason we do this is to meet incredible humans that we can have in our network. And so I'm excited for this to be the start of our friendship and mentorship, and just can't thank you enough for joining Elevation Nation.
Yeah. And again, thank you. I mean, thank you. That's beautiful, and feel the same. And to me, that's the way I work with my clients. Like I have clients, just like we're connected, and now we're connected because we're connected and we're in this game together, bringing this energy. So really thank you guys for your journey. Like really to have a bunch of frat guys doing what you're doing. I think you get the significance of that. That it is like sometimes the cool guys are the ones who are thought to be the ones who make it really challenging, but you guys are opening your hearts and making it really beautiful and allow people to step into these places. It is really a beautiful thing you're doing. So thank you.
Well, Parker was the cool one. I was not. So yes, very
Honestly, fair. I'm with you on that one, Sam. But
we love it.
You were the cool one and he wasn't, or
I was the nerd. I was Parker was way cooler than me. Yeah, we'll save that for offline. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate you. All right, Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to Elevation Nation. If you enjoyed our conversation, hit that subscribe button to get notified when we release a new episode. If you would like to join Elevation Nation or get more information about the nation, please visit our website at www.elevationnation.io. Until next week, Elevation Nation, peace.